And so we're seeing many banking organisations investing heavily in building up a threat intelligence capability to really try and get ahead of the threat.
Welcome to this final chapter of our masterclass on Banks in a Perfect Storm, presented by The Banker in partnership with IBM. We're now going to look at cybersecurity beyond compliance, and I'm joined by Julian Merick, Vice President for IBM Security in Europe. So Julian, obviously the banks know about cyber threats and they've got systems to deal with them, but why is it they're still getting hit by them? And we're reading about it all the time.
Well, the key challenge is to recognise that this is not a technology problem, it's being driven by people. So technology happens to be the way that they're now committing the crimes, but fundamentally it's accelerating very fast because this is being driven by individuals who are highly motivated. They're making a lot of money out of it, and therefore they're investing to find new ways of attacking banks. So fundamentally, the banks are in an arms race. They need to stay ahead, or at least as close as they can to the level of threat that is coming at them.
All right, but we've called this chapter cybersecurity beyond compliance, right? So why isn't compliance enough? Why isn't compliance doing the job that the banks wanted to do?
Well, so the regulators are responding to this threat, and different regulators are responding in different ways. When I talk to European banks, actually the ones that are asking the most difficult questions are often the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Monetary Authority of Singapore. They're the ones who are really focused in this area. European regulators are too, but the challenge is how do they stay current with the threat? And so we're seeing many banking organisations investing heavily in building up a threat intelligence capability to really try and get ahead of the threat, because responding to compliance is just not enough. The innovative attacks are still coming through before the regulators are asking people to plug the gaps.
All right, so tell me what banks can do on the technological front to kind of get ahead of the game.
Well, I think one of the key things is really taking a risk-based approach to security. Unfortunately, you can spend a huge amount of money on security. There's lots and lots of technologies available to plug different gaps. But the real thing is to do a study on what the threat is to your organisation and then start to take a risk-based approach. But what we're also seeing is where you're trying to respond to compliance, there are different ways of responding to those compliance requirements. And certainly what we've seen is in different organisations, the governance between the compliance organisation and their interpretation of the regulations and the IT security organisation and the business unit that needs to end up finding the budget to pay for these investments, that can create some interesting tensions. And we've been involved in a number of situations where we've been able to help advise people on what is the right technological solution to be as efficient and effective as possible in meeting that compliance, meeting that compliance requirement.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the cloud now, because the cloud obviously presents great opportunities for banks in terms of data storage and management, but some banks are a little bit nervous, aren't they? They think that's where the cybersecurity threat could actually be.
Well, cloud is a very important initiative, and many banks are looking at that, are experimenting in this space. There's no reason why moving into the cloud is necessarily less secure. The challenge is really to the security policies and the regulatory requirements, and how do you adapt those to the cloud environment. But I think what's also important to recognise is the cloud is a very effective tool for improving security as well. So we're very active in delivering security from the cloud.
All right, so tell me how that works, because that's quite a radical idea, isn't it?
Well, I think the key thing to recognise is that, as we talked about, the threat is continuing to escalate. So a bank is only going to see what it can see inside its own network. It's going to build collaborative relationships with other banks, with regulators, with government organisations to try and understand what might be coming at it. But fundamentally, when we all collaborate together, that is the way that we will beat the bad guys, because unfortunately the bad guys today are better at collaborating than we are. We have regulatory and cultural barriers that stop people sharing information as effectively as they can. We believe cloud, delivering security from the cloud, can really help speed up our ability to deliver that security. So we can tell a bank in the UK or in France or in Germany that the attack that they've just been hit was the same one that another bank in Korea was hit with in 10 minutes or half an hour earlier, and therefore we are able to bring that information and start to really drive down the amount of time that the attacker is going to be able to hit the bank.
All right. So, I mean, in a nutshell, do you think we're actually starting to change the economics of the game in favour of the banks, away from the
I'm not sure we're there yet, but I think we can see the path to doing it. So we're investing heavily in building out a cognitive capability in this space, and this will really help security operators to have much more information available to them through a cognitive security advisor. And using that kind of cloud delivered capability will really enable us to give much better visibility and support to the analysts, so that we can close down the window in which the cyber criminals can be effective and drive their attacks out.
Julian, thanks very much for helping us understand cybersecurity beyond compliance.
Thank you.